Committee on Parole is called back to order. Our next remote location is West Baton Rouge. Mr. Cole, is there someone from the staff at West Baton Rouge in the room with you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Warden Jude, West Baton Rouge Parish.
Warden, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next file is Mr. Jerret Cole. Mr. Cole, would you give us your DOC number and your full name?
Jerret Jamal Cole, 749927.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record, and then we're going to conduct a parole interview with you. Once we do that interview, you'll have an opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say to the board, and then we'll vote. You understand our procedure?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is the matter of Jerret Cole, DOC number 749927, date of birth January the 18th of 1992. He's a second-class offender. He has a parole eligibility date of September the 26th of 2023, an adjusted good time date of March the 18th of 2024, and a full term date of December the 1st of 2030. He is currently serving a 10-year sentence on the charges of illegal possession of stolen things, simple burglary, illegal possession, another 2 counts of illegal possession of stolen things, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and 2 counts of simple burglary. Is that information accurate, Mr. Cole?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cole, your case was assigned to me, so I'll begin our interview process. How old are you, Mr. Cole?
I'm 31 years old.
And how long have you been in jail on these charges?
I've been incarcerated for 3 years and a month.
Tell me a little bit about your educational background. How far did you go in school?
I graduated high school and I went to community college for 2 years after.
All right. Did you get any sort of degree from community college?
No, sir. I didn't continue to go.
Why did you leave community college?
I just fell out of it. I didn't have a reason. I just stopped going.
All right. How about work history? Did you go to work?
Yes, sir. I had a numerous amount of jobs.
Okay, tell me a little bit about your job.
I've worked at Home Depot for 1.5 years. I've worked on a tugboat on the river for like a year. I worked at a furniture company named Big Ben for like 2 years. I've worked at LSU doing agriculture and horticulture work. I worked at Popeyes and some other small restaurants.
What's the longest you've ever had one particular job continuously?
The longest job I had was, I say Big Ben. I worked there like 2.5 years.
Okay. Why so many jobs? Why did you move from job to job?
Well, sometimes due to transportation, my job was across the river and I didn't have a ride. So I had to find a closer job. And if things wouldn't work out with that job, I found a better job and I just was leaving, job hopping.
I understand you have 2 children, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How old are your children?
I have one, she's 3, she just made 3, May 31st. And I have a 2-year-old, she makes 3, December 16th. I haven't seen the 2-year-old yet.
How many times have you been, I know you're a second offender, but how many times have you actually been to prison? Is this your first time actually coming to prison?
Yeah, prison, this is my first time, but I've been arrested like 5 or 6 times.
More like 12 times.
12.
Sound about right?
Maybe right, maybe right.
You've got 3 felony convictions, 1 misdemeanor conviction. You've got 4 felonies that were either, we don't have a record or they were dismissed. And you have 4 misdemeanor charges that were either dismissed or we just don't have a record of. So why all of the arrests? What was going on? Tell me what the problem is.
I was young, I was living a wild life and really don't have no excuse. I was just doing whatever.
Mr. Cole, you are still young at 31 years old.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what's the wildlife? Tell me what the wildlife means.
I was partying. I wasn't thinking about
Okay, what does partying look like? What do you mean you were partying?
Party just going out every weekend or going to clubs, loud music.
Were you drinking,
I was drinking.
doing drugs?
I was smoking marijuana.
Okay. How often were you smoking marijuana?
I smoked marijuana all the way up to a few years after high school,
And how often would you smoke marijuana?
every day.
And when did you stop? When you came to prison?
Yes, sir.
You ever try cocaine or anything beyond that?
No, I haven't never tried cocaine.
You consider yourself, I know a lot of people think, and especially since they allegedly decriminalized marijuana, that marijuana is not really a drug. Do you consider yourself to be a drug addict, having smoked marijuana every day for a good while?
I don't consider myself a drug addict, but I did acknowledge my problem, which was every day. That's a problem, but I didn't want to call myself a drug addict, so I had to own up to it that normal people look at it that way.
Well, let me ask you this. What's the difference between recognizing your problem and not calling yourself a drug addict?
I just didn't want to use that term towards myself, that's why.
Well, we're a parole board, and we're trying to figure out if you have accepted responsibility for your problems and the fact that you know you have a problem and you're not going to move forward, that you're going to be able to stop doing whatever it is you were doing. So I'm going to ask you again, do you consider yourself to be a drug addict?
But not anymore, I once was.
Tell me what a drug addict is then.
A drug addict is a person who all day just want to chase they drug of choice, and they don't worry about anything else but the drug.
Okay. Well, that's not necessarily, that's a drug addict, but to be addicted to drugs doesn't necessarily mean that. There are a lot of drug addicts that kind of function. And they're able to keep a job and they're able to do things, but they always go back to those drugs. Why did you use marijuana for all that time?
I was addicted.
Well, what's going to stop you from being addicted again?
Well, I really owned up to everything I've done in my past, and
I accept that, but owning up to something in stopping a disease is a different thing.
Yeah, I was
getting. What programs have you taken about substance abuse? What have you learned about addiction and substance abuse?
I've learned that it can harm you, like in the present and the future, and it can limit your resources, like with jobs.
Well, you don't need to take classes to know that. What have you learned about you and your drug use? What prompted you to do drugs?
Well, I just started doing drugs, hanging out with my friends, and from that point, it just became consistent. So I had to notice that. I really noticed that about myself, and I had to think about it. Like I was embarrassed because of the way I used to be, and.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you ever taken any programs to determine what your triggers might be that would cause you to smoke marijuana or maybe have some alcohol?
I've taken risk management, and while I was at Morehouse Parish, I was enrolled in substance abuse class, but I was working too. They didn't want us to work and take the class. So,
okay, well, my question is not so much how many hours did you spend in a classroom. My question is, what have you learned about substance abuse in terms of why you did drugs? Some triggers are things like stressors. I couldn't find a job. I got depressed, so I started smoking marijuana again. My girlfriend broke up with me, so I had a drink and I ended up smoking drugs. My mother got sick, so I got upset and I went back to using drugs. What are your triggers?
Those 4 things you just said, sir, that's mainly was my triggers.
Okay, so what are you going to do when things like that happen? How are you going to be able to control your urges to go back to smoking marijuana or drinking?
During these last years I've been incarcerated, I really learned how to fight my temptations and to
So
focus.
how do you fight your temptations?
I just resist, total resist.
So if someone put you in a room with a bag full of marijuana and it started lightning and they kept you in there and wouldn't feed you or anything, you think you'd just be able to resist?
I think I'll be able to resist, sir. I'm at that point in my life where I rehabilitated myself and I have a strong mind now.
Well, Mr. Cole, I think you need a little more education, and I think you need a little more substance abuse training. Those are just my concerns right now. Where will you live if you get out of jail?
I would live with my father in Gonzales, Louisiana.
And what kind of work would you do?
Right now, I work at Southside Produce on Perkins while I'm in work release. The owner told me I can keep my job if I want when I get out. And I have my dad, he works on the river for 20 years. He's a supervisor, and he's going to get me on to his job.
Mr. Cole, have you ever been to an AA meeting?
I have never been to an AA meeting, but I would, if I was to get out, I would like to attend one, or I would like to go weekly if I could.
Why would you want to go to an AA meeting? What do you think AA meetings do?
I think AA meeting helps a person like stay on track, stay consistent, stay away from drugs, stay abstinent away from drugs.
How do you think an AA meeting does that?
By teaching a person a resistance.
So you think at an AA meeting, somebody's going to teach you how to do something? What do you think they do at an AA meeting? Do you know?
They can help, but you gotta want to help yourself first. So you gotta want it yourself first. And I wanted myself, honestly. I really wanted myself. I want to help myself.
Have you ever had any substance abuse treatment on the outside?
No, sir.
Besides angry feelings and inside out dads, what substance abuse programs have you taken?
Like I was enrolled in a substance abuse class, but at Morehouse Parish, you're not able to go to class and work. So while
you chose to work as opposed to stay in the class.
No, sir, I was trying to get out of work, but they threatened to write me up if I was to refuse to work.
And where you are now, of course, you're in work release right now. Are there any programs there that you can take?
I believe there's a reentry program.
How about AA meetings or anything like that? Is there anything there? Who is in there with you? The warden's in there with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There is a substance abuse program that's offered at work release. I'm not quite sure which one it is, but they do teach one substance abuse program at work release.
Okay. And do we know how long that program is?
I am not sure.
Okay. Thank you, Warden. I appreciate it. Any other questions?
So you still at Morehouse. There's an indication you got removed from that work release, but that didn't happen.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am. I was removed. I was sent to Madison Parish.
And
then I was sent from Madison Parish to West Baton Rouge work release.
Okay, what's it called? Yeah, what's it called?
So you was.
Thank you.
So where are you now?
I'm in West Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay. So you got removed from Morehouse Parish because of what?
I'm not sure. They didn't tell me why they shipped me. They didn't tell me anything.
Okay.
Honestly.
So they just shipped you from one work release to Madison Parish and then to Baton Rouge work release.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I got you. That's all I had.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
it's a risk management program and it lasts approximately 4 months.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Good. Thank you. Mr. Cole, is there anything you'd like to say before the board votes?
Yes, sir. I would like to say that I've really worked on myself and I've done good and I'm proud of myself. Like, no matter how it goes today, I still won't feel like I let myself down, and I still keep my faith that I will get the opportunity to prove to others and myself that I'm a better person. I'm a conducted citizen society, and I'm ready to see my child, to take care of my family. My mom needs me. I'm just ready for the world. I've got myself together. I own up to all my past mistakes. You know, I take full responsibility for living like I was living. I'm just ready for another chance into society. I feel like I paid my debt to society.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. I appreciate your comments. Board ready to vote? Mr. Cole, you know, you're going to be getting out in March, regardless of what we do here today on good time release, but you'll be on supervision until 2030. My concern is that you really do need some more education on substance abuse. My vote today would be you have a moderate risk and you have moderate needs for substance abuse, which concerns me. So my vote today would be to grant conditionally upon you completing, staying in work release program and completing that work release program, the substance abuse program that they have there in work release. That probably will give you some extra time to get out early. You'll probably be getting out as soon as you finish that program. I would add as a condition that you attend at least 3 AA meetings per week and that you be on a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. at least for the first 6 months that you're on probation. And if approved by your parole supervisor after that, they can take you off that curfew or they can continue you on that curfew. I'm with one vote, but that's my vote. Ms. Jackson?
Ms. Cole, it was a pleasure talking to you. That's a good looking shirt you got on. Is that a prison shirt?
No, ma'am, this is a shirt my dad actually bought me to work in.
Okay. My vote is the same, to grant conditionally upon completion of the risk management substance abuse program while in work release.
Sir, my vote is the same for the same reasons. Sit on the front row and really pay attention. Best wishes to you.
All right, Mr. Cole, you've got 3 votes to conditionally grant your parole. You need to enroll into that risk management program and take that program. You'll be able to continue to work and take that program and likely get out before your good time release date. When you get out, you'll have 3 AA meetings to go to. You'll have a curfew and good luck to you. You're a young man. I hope that we don't see you again.
Well,
All right, good luck to you.